Have you ever wondered what truly makes someone righteous in God's eyes? Is it about following a long list of rules, wearing certain clothes, or having a special title? Today we're diving deep into one of the most intense and revealing chapters in the Bible, Matthew 23 from the New Living Version. Here, Jesus unleashes a powerful critique against the religious leaders of his day, the Pharisees and teachers of the law. He calls them out not for their knowledge, but for their hypocrisy. This chapter is a raw, unfiltered look at the difference between outward religious performance and genuine, heartfelt faith. It's a message that was radical then and is just as relevant for us today. So let's get ready to explore Jesus' powerful words and what they mean for our own walk with God. Let's begin reading from Matthew chapter 23, starting in verse 1. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "The teachers of religious law and the Pharisees are the official interpreters of the law of Moses, so practice and obey whatever they tell you, but don't follow their example, for they don't practice what they teach. They crush people with unbearable religious demands and never lift a finger to ease the burden. Everything they do is for show. On their arms they wear extra wide prayer boxes with scripture verses inside, and they wear robes with extra long tassels, and they love to sit at the head table at banquets and in the seats of honor in the synagogues. They love to receive respectful greetings as they walk in the marketplaces, and to be called rabbi. Don't let anyone call you rabbi, for you have only one teacher, and all of you are equal as brothers and sisters. And don't address anyone here on earth as father, for only God in heaven is your father. And don't let anyone call you teacher, for you have only one teacher, the Messiah. The greatest among you must be a servant. But those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you shut the door of the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You won't go in yourselves, and you don't let others enter either. What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you cross land and sea to make one convert, and then you turn that person into twice the child of hell you yourselves are. Blind guides! What sorrow awaits you! For you say that it means nothing to swear by God's temple, but that it is binding to swear by the gold in the temple. Blind fools! Which is more important, the gold or the temple that makes the gold sacred? And you say that to swear by the altar is not binding, but to swear by the gifts on the altar is binding. How blind! For which is more important, the gift on the altar or the altar that makes the gift sacred? When you swear by the altar, you are swearing by it and by everything on it. And when you swear by the temple, you are swearing by it and by God who lives in it. And when you swear by heaven, you are swearing by the throne of God and by God who sits on the throne. What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are careful to tithe even the tiniest income from your herb gardens, but you ignore the more important aspects of the law: justice, mercy, and faith. You should tithe, yes, but do not neglect the more important things. Blind guides! You strain your water so you won't accidentally swallow a gnat, but you swallow a camel. What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are so careful to clean the outside of the cup and the dish, but inside you are filthy, full of greed and self-indulgence. You blind Pharisee! First wash the inside of the cup and the dish, and then the outside will become clean too. What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, but filled on the inside with dead people's bones and all sorts of impurity. Outwardly you look like righteous people, but inwardly your hearts are filled with hypocrisy and lawlessness. What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you build tombs for the prophets your ancestors killed, and you decorate the monuments of the godly people your ancestors destroyed. Then you say, if we had lived in the days of our ancestors, we would never have joined them in killing the prophets. But in saying that, you testify against yourselves that you are indeed the descendants of those who murdered the prophets. Go ahead and finish what your ancestors started. Snakes! Sons of vipers! How will you escape the judgment of hell? Therefore I am sending you prophets and wise men and teachers of religious law. But you will kill some by crucifixion, and you will flog others with whips in your synagogues, chasing them from city to city. As a result, you will be held responsible for the murder of all godly people of all time, from the murder of righteous Abel too. The murder of Zechariah son of Berechiah, whom you killed in the temple between the sanctuary and the altar. I tell you the truth, this judgment will fall on this very generation. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets and stones God's messengers. How often I have wanted to gather your children together as a hen protects her chicks beneath her wings, but you wouldn't let me. And now, look, your house is abandoned and desolate. For I tell you this, you will never see me again until you say, Blessings on the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Wow, what an incredibly powerful chapter. Jesus doesn't hold back. He repeats the phrase, what sorrow awaits you 7 times, each time highlighting a different form of hypocrisy. This isn't just an angry rant. It's a series of precise, surgical strikes against religious pride and emptiness. Let's break it down. Jesus starts by telling the people to listen to the teachings of the Pharisees because they sit in Moses' seat, they teach the law. But he immediately warns them, don't do what they do. This is the core of the problem. Their actions didn't match their words. They piled heavy burdens on others but did nothing to help. Their faith was a performance, all for show long tassels, seats of honor, and fancy titles. Jesus flips this on its head. He says true greatness isn't about titles like rabbi, father, or teacher. It's about humility. It's about being a servant. The one who lifts themselves up will be brought low, and the one who humbles themselves will be lifted up. Then we get to the 7 woes. Jesus calls them hypocrites for shutting the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. They made the path to God so complicated that no one, including themselves, could find it. He criticizes them for their obsessive focus on minor rules, like tithing spices, while completely ignoring the things that truly matter to God: justice, mercy, and faithfulness. It's like meticulously cleaning the outside of a cup while the inside is full of filth, or being a beautiful, whitewashed tomb that's full of death and decay on the inside. These are such powerful images of spiritual emptiness. The climax of his critique is devastating. He calls them snakes and sons of vipers, linking them directly to their ancestors who killed the prophets. They pretended to honor the prophets of old, but Jesus knew they had the same murderous spirit in their hearts and would soon kill him, the ultimate prophet. But even after all this intense judgment, the chapter ends with a profound shift in tone. It moves from righteous anger to deep sorrow. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how often I have wanted to gather your children together as a hen protects her chicks beneath her wings, but you wouldn't let me. This reveals the heart of God. Beneath the fire of judgment is a heart breaking with love and longing for his people to return to him. His desire is not to condemn, but to gather, protect, and save. So what does this mean for us? This chapter challenges us to look in the mirror. Are we more concerned with appearing righteous than actually being righteous? Do we focus on the external rules while neglecting the internal state of our hearts? Are we truly living out justice, mercy, and faith? Jesus is calling us to a faith that is authentic, humble, and centered on a genuine love for God and others. He wants our insides to match our outsides. He's calling us to come under his wings, to find refuge not in our own religious efforts, but in his grace and love. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive into Matthew 23. It's a challenging word, but a necessary one. If this resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the heart of the Scriptures. God bless. I love reading your comments, so let me know how you love Jesus. I will pray for you every day. Search for Jesus at Harold Zwaney for the complete library of my Bible study videos. Thank you and God bless.